today is going to be teaching on managing depression. We're very excited to be able to have her here in our community center today. We hope we find everyone happy and healthy. And with that said, I'm going to give it over to Dr. Rosi, who's going to be teaching us how to manage depression. Dr. Rosi, it's all yours.
Well, good morning, everyone. Yes, thank you for the introduction. I hope everyone is doing well this morning. I thank God for this opportunity to speak and to give you maybe some helpful advice on how to manage these horrible times that we are living. So let me start by just giving a reflection about what has happened in the past 3 months. And of course, I'm going to go into great detail about, the coronavirus. But for the past 3 months, approximately, the daily topic of conversation has been coronavirus. I am sure that everyone that is listening to me today are experiencing the same thing. They feel saturated with information. There's been so much information coming from everywhere, coming from the social media, coming from the news, scientists, specialists, all kinds of information that has been just thrown at us. And we don't know what to do with it, what to believe, how to, act in these times. So everyone has been impacted by it. And that's what's interesting about this, crisis, that the entire world has been affected by it. And in my own experience, initially, let me just give you just sort of a walkthrough. This is like going through like a grief process, going through grief stages. First of all, when we hit with the news, it's kind of shocking. We don't know what is going on, what is this? There's this uncertainty, fear, worry, our feelings get, we get traumatized by this experience. And then we just sort of move through and we start going through an adjustment of understanding, of gaining knowledge, of gaining more information about what to do. Then our behaviors begin to change. For example, in my case, since I'm an essential worker, I was able to stay at home, work through home, and just do everything that I needed to do through my house, and which is great. But for other people, it hasn't been the same, and I understand that. So I don't know what your situation is today. I don't know what you're going through, what your experience of this is. I don't know if you have been holding things in and you have not shared with anyone how you feel. Or sometimes we hold back because we have to be strong for the people around us. And we have to show them that we can go through this. But you don't talk to anyone. You don't tell anyone how you feel. And if that is the case, I want to emphasize today the importance of externalizing those feelings, of talking about them. And if you go to God in prayer, do that. Allow God to experience you, how you feel. And if you have someone close to you, maybe reach out to that person, talk to a friend, talk to a family church member, anyone that you can talk to. But don't stay with that inside, because that can really do harm to your emotions, to your mental status. It's similar to someone who does weights, when they lift weights. You lift weights, and if you hold that weight in your hand and you don't let go of it, and you stay with it, you notice that you start shaking because it's too much weight and the muscle cannot hold it. So eventually, you're gonna give out and you're gonna drop that weight. It's the same thing. Our mind needs to find relief. So I was introducing to you the idea that this is like going through grief stages, and you know, society is grieving. Everyone is grieving this process. It's painful. Children. We lost a lot of our freedoms. We had to stay home, and we have to obey regulations to keep ourselves and other people safe. Some of us have lost their jobs, businesses. Perhaps some of you have lost loved ones, or maybe you yourself are being affected by coronavirus and your health was restored. Thank God. Some people have fallen into deep depressions and anxiety. And what I see lately, it's a lot of anger and frustration. People are angry, people are frustrated, they don't know what to do, they don't know where to turn. And as you see it, everyone wants to go back to a norm, to what the way we were. And this is like we take 3 steps forward and then we take 4 back. And this is gonna be this, motion that we're gonna be sifting through until everything goes back to a normal. And we don't know when that's gonna be. So I want you to pay attention to children. Children, this is taking a big toll on them. Lately, we have been hearing that this coronavirus is mutating, and children are suffering different medical conditions as a result of it. And they also get very anxious. Anxiety is the number one cause of problems in children with this coronavirus. And they also get very depressed. So I have an example of a young man. He's 17 years old, and he was affected by the coronavirus. So he became infected, and he has asthma, and he also has some heart problems. He became very ill. His father also got infected, and his mother as well. So what happens is that the mother hardly developed any symptoms. But the father became very ill, but his health was restored. And this child was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. He was very, very ill. Thank God, his health was restored, and he's back into the house. But mentally, he's unstable. He can't feel safe. He lost that security. And so every day that he experiences a symptom, he coughs, something hurts, his mom, please take me to the emergency room. I think I have COVID again. So this is something that not only affects us if we don't have it, but if we have it and we have to experience those horrible symptoms, it impacts us. Our lives are never the same. So other things that children are affected with, and also the older people, it's sleep disturbances. People having difficulty sleep, their sleep cycles are being affected. Sometimes they can't. I can tell you by some of the clients what they're reporting to me. They're reporting to me that, especially teenagers, because teenagers are used to, they're used to staying up at night, chatting with their friends, social media. They stay up at night. They're not going to school anymore, so they are home and they can do their work whenever they want to. And they're really, really affecting their sleep cycles by doing that. But more so now, because they're worried. They're worried about their families. Some of the teenagers, their parents work outside, they do construction, they come home. So they worry that may be infected, and they worry for their own health. So it's this constant state, it's like a vicious cycle. that never ends, and we feel trapped in this. So everyone reacts differently to a crisis, based on age, previous experience with loss, your current support systems, resources, and resiliency ability. So some people will face the pressure directly, and they'll just flow with the new normal. But others will feel overwhelmed. So those are the ones that we have to pay attention. Those that have difficulty adjusting to the changes, and you see them drowning. If you notice that your child is isolating, they're irritable, they're not talking to you, they worry, they ask questions, Mom, are you okay? Are we gonna be all right? Are we gonna die? Children give you clues, they give you information. So if any of your children are experiencing any of this, talk to them, listen to them, maybe get them help. Because if this doesn't go away, children are very likely to do self-destructive actions in order to minimize their pain. So what do we see? A lot of admissions in the hospital, in psychiatric hospitals for children, in particular adolescents. And I have heard adolescents that said to me, I don't care about my life, I'm gonna go out there and play it out. If I get COVID-19, I get it and I die, and that's the end of it. Just so not only are they being irresponsible with their own health, but they're also impacting others, and we've seen it. Like I said, everyone takes it differently. Everybody performs different, upon this COVID-19. So again, I don't know where you're at, which one of those is you. You know yourself. You know your own emotions and your feelings. You know your own situation. So I want to say to you, don't feel guilty if you feel bad. Don't feel guilty if you're scared. It's okay. It's normal to feel like that, especially upon something that at least our generation have never experienced anything like this. I don't know of anybody around me that I know that has experienced this, because the last pandemic, we know there was the Spanish flu, which was about over 100 years ago, right? Yes. So nobody knows how to deal with it. Everybody's confused. So it's okay. It's okay. Just rely on the Lord, pray, get on your knees, ask God for guidance, because that's all we have. And sometimes, and I don't forget about this, but sometimes before this pre-COVID-19, some people were going through some stuff already. Some people were going through separation, divorce, maybe illnesses, financial problems with family. Maybe they were going through losses in their lives. And then this, on top of it, yes, it would take a big toll on you. So what I'm saying to you is that it can happen to anyone. Depression can happen to anyone. We all prone to it. I am sure that everyone who's listening, and I can say it myself, that I have experienced those symptoms sometime in my life. Because life hurts sometimes. There's a lot to take, especially now. But we have the source. We have our God that we go to. And He is our fortress, the Bible says. He's our rock. So let's talk about a little bit about, our thought process during this time. Our thoughts, what we think, what we say to ourselves, what we feel, what we do, it all has a connection. Our thoughts really predict the way we're gonna feel about ourselves and the way we're gonna act. So it's all a connection. And we have to be careful about what goes in our head, what kind of thoughts we entertain. Do I wake up in the morning and I wake up with worry and I say to myself, I don't know what kind of day I'm gonna have. I don't know if I'm gonna find work. All these thoughts create an environment, create a platform for you to start your day. And it's like a domino effect. You start feeling bad, you worry, you get tired, because it is exhausting. When you feed into negative thoughts, it is very, very exhausting. You start feeling weak, you start feeling tired, you don't want to talk to anyone, you feel irritable, and you just want to hide. Go under the covers, nobody, please, that nobody touch me, nobody talk to me. So what I'm inviting you to do is to think about what it is that you're entertaining your thoughts with. What are you thinking? What's your thought process? And be careful so you won't fall into those traps of hurting yourself and experiencing all this, barrage of emotions that just carry you through the days and, in the months. Because this is an opportunity for us to stay very stagnated. Because when we're home, that's our comfort zone. We enjoy ourselves, we take time, we go to the kitchen, we go, places around the house, and we just pleasantly stay there. I know that for other people it's not the case. I understand for some people the homes are crowded. There's no privacy. People don't have time alone. People don't have time, an opportunity to even have some privacy. And for children as well, we have to be mindful of that. But some people don't have that space. So home can become a very, very, negative environment, and very toxic sometimes if our relationships with our family members is not healthy, or it was not good before all of this started. So let me invite you to think about, I don't know, for everyone, I'm gonna say for everyone, this pandemic crisis has been different. For some, a time of reflection, thinking about, what is this all about? How does the world come to a halt, to a standstill in one moment? And then you start evaluating your own life. What is my purpose? What role do I play in all of this? Or do you just say, I'm just gonna let it ride and do nothing? No, absolutely not. I think that this is when we have to get the busiest. Get busy with your life, get busy doing things, start new projects, do new things, write, paint, learn a new skill, read about something that you never read before, learn something new and exciting. Don't just sit there and do nothing, because that will drive you into depression. Because God made us to create. God is a creator God. And we have to create. We have to recreate ourselves through this pandemic, and not allow us to sit and just mourn and be sad and victimize ourselves. because that is not the intention. There have been so many beautiful things that come out of this pandemic. We know that our earth is recovering. You've seen it everywhere. You've seen the pictures. You know, the ocean is clear. The animals are coming out. The birds are singing in the morning. It's just wonderful because it's almost as if life is regenerating itself again. So this is another time to reflect, where are you in terms of your relationship with God? Where is your faith? Where do you put your faith on? Who do you rely on for your daily bread, for your substance? What drives you? What motivates you? What really is in your heart? What are you doing for others? It's a big question. What are you doing for others? You know, when you feel the saddest, when you feel, like miserable, let me tell you, if you pick up the phone at that time, and instead of thinking of you, you call another person, and you give that person a word of encouragement, you give that person love and a listening ear, let me tell you, you're doing it for you. Because you are refreshing yourself. You're giving love. And that love reciprocates. And it makes you strong again. So I am telling you, reach out to others. At least one person every day. One person that you can think of. Have it on your list. Maybe make a list every week. Have one person. Call that person. Encourage that person. Give them a word. Read them a verse. Share one of your experiences. So, what do we do? What do we do now? You know, right now we're sort of in a limbo. They're telling us, go out. Other people say, stay inside. They tell us, this is good for you. This is not good for you. So it's almost as if, well, who's going to make the decision for me? And this is where, God's wisdom comes in. This is where you have to rely on God for guidance and for direction. Because He is the one who's going to show you the way like He always has. God has never changed. He is the same today as He was years ago, thousands of years ago, and throughout history and throughout our knowledge of God through the Bible. So, just some practical ways to cope with stress. First and foremost, take breaks from the news. Stay away from the news. Oh, but I want to be informed. I need to be informed. I have to. Because if I'm not, I don't know what's going to happen. No. You know, COVID-19 is not going to go away if you don't watch the news for 1 or 2 days. Just pace yourself. Maybe you want to give yourself, listen to the news in the morning, once a day, max twice a day, and let it go. Don't stick with it. So that includes social media. And stay away from toxic people. They keep talking about the same thing. You know, because what happens, we get criticized a lot. Because we pray, we rely on God for guidance. So what do people say? You know, I don't think you're really doing it right here. You really have to listen to the news. You cannot just rely on God. Of course we can rely on God. He's our Savior. He's our everything. He's our substance. So stay away from news. It's the worst thing that you can do to yourself. And don't start off your day with it. Because that will stay in your brain and it will just roam in your head all day long. Some practical things for your body. We have to take care of our bodies. You know, we have to eat healthy. Because when this pandemic started, people would send hundreds of jokes and funny clips about people, inflating themselves with all kinds of snacks and stuff. So, but the point is that, no, none of that. Our bodies are temple of the Holy Spirit, and we have to feed them properly. And we have to give them a balanced life. So, if you're not doing that today, I suggest that you start. I recommend that you start. Just make a list of all the unhealthy habits that you have right now. Think about all the unhealthy habits and just write them down. And versus healthy. And make a comparison. And think about, okay, what do I need to change in order to become healthy? So, eating well-balanced diets is very important. Sleep. Even if you don't want to sleep, if your body's not tired, then make your body tired. Exercise. Essential for a healthy body and a healthy essential is to exercise, do anything you like. It could be dancing, it could be anything. You can do anything in your house. You don't have to, you don't have to go to a gym. I know that they're open now, but who wants to go to a gym? That is, it's a no-no. You don't do anything until you are 100% sure that your safety is protected. Period. Even if the whole world is taking off their mask, if the Lord says to you, it is not time yet, you will not do it. Because common sense. This is not over yet. We're still on it. So, protect your health. And we know the people who are healthy are the ones that have survived this coronavirus. Let me tell you, my sister-in-law, she's 64 years old, and she was in New Jersey in the process of retiring and going back to retire in her own country. And when she went and shared with her family and said goodbye, one person was sick. And it turned out that this person had the coronavirus. It was a brother-in-law. And she got infected. Her father got infected. And 3 days later, she's nearly dying in her home. Went to the hospital. The doctor told her, you had the coronavirus, but your lungs are not compromised. You can go home and you can quarantine yourself. If you had trouble breathing, then just come to the hospital. But her lungs never became compromised. She became very dehydrated because of the fever. So she went to the hospital and the doctor said they hydrated her. She went back home and she stayed there until the quarantine passed. She lived. She's a healthy person, never smoked, never had any bad habits, and she lived. And that's what I'm saying to you. She was able to recover without a vaccine and without medication that addresses the symptoms of coronavirus. And we are getting cured like that because we don't have anything. All these medications really are not really curing, or they're not the cure to coronavirus. So people are getting better without proper medication because they are healthy. And our bodies are equipped to fight all these illnesses and all these viruses. if our bodies are healthy. So this is more of a reason why you should keep your body healthy. And I hope you made that commitment today. Not just your body to be healthy, but also your mind and your spiritual life. So take time to unwind. Listen to activities. Because, one of the things that happens is that even though we're at home, we start getting busy again. And we start piling things on us. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And there's so many things that you can do at the house. Oh my. There's so much. Things that were left undone for years. A closet that you need to fix, or you need to, rearrange the kitchen. You want to paint the house. All these projects, and at the end of the day, you're exhausted, right? Plus everything else you have on top of you. So just enjoy some activities, with your kids. Listen to some relaxing music, read your Bible. I noticed that a lot of the Christians are reading the Bible like they never did before. And they're discovering the Bible, and they're discovering books on the Bible that never existed for them. And it's just a wonderful thing that, people are taking that wonderful journey of getting to know God through the Bible and the way God really talked to his people. So I was talking to you before about, which is very important, very concerned about the children, because that is a generation that has been, even before this COVID-19 affected. Our children were bombarded with information, all kinds of horrible things. Children 6, 7, 8, 9 years old watching pornography, parents not knowing about it. Children knowing information that they're not supposed to know. And it's a very scary thing, because now children are at home and they have access to technology. And so the predators take an opportunity to shoot out all this information. And children are very likely, they are vulnerable. They're very, very vulnerable. And they take on all this information. They don't tell anybody. They keep it quiet. Until parents find out when it's too late, when they have already exposed themselves to the stuff. So be very in tune. Watch over your child, what they're looking at, what they're seeing on the internet. Just be very mindful. The children are curious, very curious, and they want to know. And they would go to places where they're not supposed to. And that's just human nature. Children are curious just like we are. So, also be concerned if your child starts complaining about headaches, body pain, because that's some of the symptoms that children manifest when there's anxiety and depression. They start throwing up, they start feeling very sick, oh, my tummy aches, there's aches. So all those symptoms that are not your usual child, that your child doesn't show those symptoms, make sure that you pay attention to them. They just say, oh, you're just going to get better, or take this. No, it could be a sign of something deeper. And like I told you before, children tend to go drastic. If nobody pays attention to them and they show the signs, what they do is self-harming behaviors, or they go into, suicidal mode, and you know what happens next. I would like to invite you to think about, to take an opportunity during this time to build relationships with your family, with your children, with your spouse. A lot of the problems that are happening right now in the homes is because families were not communicating with one another. They did not have a communication platform. They did not have a way to just come freely to mom or dad and say, hey, mom, dad, this and that. You know, children would come out, they go in the room, isolate, come out for a few minutes, and then just stay away from family. This is a great opportunity that God has given us to bring a family together, to talk to one another. Take a walk with your son or your daughter. Talk to them. Meet them where they're at. Don't give them a lecture. Say, how are you? How is this affecting you? How do you feel? This is the way I feel. How do you feel? Tell your son or your daughter, you know, I'm scared. I don't know. They understand. They don't, you know, children know more than what you think. Especially adolescents, this is a great opportunity. If you were losing your relationship with your adolescent, if you didn't have any communication with them, this is an opportunity to do that. You know, and don't push yourself onto them, but just rather be a vulnerable person and show them that, hey, this is hard. We're gonna pull through as a family. We can do this together. So that encouragement. This is another opportunity to pray with your children, to read the Word of God with them, to spend time with them in prayer, you know, read devotionals with them, sort them out, you know, just give your impressions of how do you feel about this whole pandemic thing. Let me tell you something. I love working with adolescents because I don't know if I have any adolescents in the audience. You guys are amazing. I know you want to talk. And when I have an adolescent in front of me, for me it's a privilege because it's an opportunity to hear them out. And I know that if you guys feel comfortable with the person, very likely to share of yourselves with the therapist or with whoever is interested in you. Because you're full of ideas, you're full of energy, you're full of life. And it's wonderful to be able to dig into your brain and you give us those ideas. You know, some of you are writers, some of you are painters, some of you are musicians. You know, you have so much to offer. And show that to your parents. Show them who you are. Share your thoughts and your ideas and all your talents with your family now, you know, because sometimes, you know, you do it with others, you do it outside your home, you know, everybody knows about you, but sometimes your parents, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could write. You sing? What? You know, it's like, you're discovering your child? You didn't know anything about, yeah, because you guys never talked. Never had that conversation. You never interested in your kid. You never said, hey son, you know what? I really wanted to get to know you. And I am so sorry that I didn't before this time. But maybe this is an opportunity for us to come together and get to know each other and share. So the question becomes, what have you learned from all of this? And I wish you, if you haven't, sit down after this or whenever you have a moment and write down your thoughts. Because, you know, sometimes we think about it and then we forget. We think of something wonderful. You know, it's like this revelation that God gave us about all this pandemic thing. And then we get home and we say, what did I think? And we forget. It's good to write those thoughts down because God is giving us the wisdom and the opportunity to bring something out of this pandemic. We are His voice. We are His children. We are here to reveal His truths. And this is the time where we have to shine for Him. This is our time. So do not be concerned about what is going on around you, because there's always a crisis. There's always a problem. There's always going to be something to deal with. Don't be concerned, because God is in control. So I want you to resonate with those three words. God is in control. Look what Isaiah 35:4 says. Say to those with fearful hearts, be strong. Do not fear. Your God will come. He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. He is with you now, in your situation, in your mental status, in your family. He is with you now. He's protecting you. He has His wings around you. This is God, the Almighty God, that's in control of this planet and of your life. And the other thought that I want to leave with you is that God is a God of purpose. In Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all good things, in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Listen to those powerful words. This is really powerful. God works for the good of those who love Him. Do you love Him? Are you loving Him every day throughout all this pandemic? Are you saying, waking up in the morning, you say, God, I love you. No matter what happens, no matter what comes to my way today, I love you because you are with me and you're protecting me and you're in control. Amen. And you have a purpose for my life. Amen. You have a purpose. And if you haven't found that purpose, today is the day. You need to work on that. You need to get on your knees and ask God, what is the purpose during this time of pandemic? Because God has assigned you to do something. And you got to fulfill that. Because you're a child of God and He wants you there. He wants you busy in His field. He wants you armed. And He wants you prepared. And if you're not getting prepared, you better be, because this is not the first time this is going to happen. It's going to happen again. They told us. But you know what? God has already revealed that to His children. And we know it. We know it in our heart. We know that this is a new normal. We know that our lives are never going to be the same after this. We know that this pandemic isn't going to go away for months. I don't mean to scare anyone. This is real. Just like the Word of God is real. Like the devil is real. That real. Because we are here for a purpose. And it's God's purpose. Hard times can make it difficult to see God's purpose. And I know, but you don't understand. This is really hard. You don't know what I've been through. I lost everything. I lost my business. I lost this. I lost that. I don't know what kind of God you believe in today. But He provides. He provides all you need. Have you lacked anything during this pandemic? It's been 3 months, more than 3 months. You still have food on your table? You still have shelter? Everything you have it because of His mercy, because of His provision, because God provides for you every day. He renews His blessings every day. He renews our minds every day. Every day is a different day. Yesterday is gone. Can't do anything about it. Let's look through the future. Many times we reject God's words and we don't want to be reminded that God is working our difficulty for our own good. Yes, God operates better during times of fire in our deserts. That's when God brings us out stronger. So let's practice this mindset that God is working things out for us. So you can rest. So you can let it go. Don't fatigue yourself. Because let go. Let go. And allow God to work through this pandemic. Because He wants to. He's there for you. There is I want to share one of my favorite verses that there's so many. You know, I'm sure that all of us can say, oh, I love this, I love that. Every time you open the Bible, you find something that you fall in love with, and it's sort of, you can just receive that word and make it yours and just speak it out. And this is for me, it has been such a powerful word. And it's in Mark 12:30. Jesus said, and you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and all of your mind, and with all your strength. He calls upon us, our entire being. He wants our mind, He wants our heart, He wants our soul, and He wants our strength. That's what God wants. He's not asking you for anything else. Just you surrender yourself. Do not be afraid of this pandemic. Because if you take care of yourself and you take safety measures and you do everything, God will do the rest. Just love Him with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength and your soul. And God will do. Because that's His job. That's all He does. For centuries and centuries on end. This is what God does. He's there for you. To love you and to care for you. So allow Him to love you by loving Him and seeking Him every day. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, we have a question from one of the viewers. Do you recommend any books on depression?
Any particular books on depression? I do. I can't think of, I have a library of books in my head. But is there any way that we can, I create a list and send it to you and we send it to, yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely.
The second question, can you share on your practice and your contact information, and do you do any kind of therapy online, one-to-one?
Yes, I do. I'm doing telehealth, and of course, you're welcome to my information. Pastor, is there any way you can relay that information to the people? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
You can tell them now and they'll...
Oh, okay. All right. So, my name is Rosi, Goni, and my private practice is in Hollywood, Florida. And my telephone number is, the office number is 954-404-6261. I don't know if you need my address, but I'm at 5834 Sterling Road in the city of Hollywood, and the zip code is 33021. You can call me, leave a message. If I'm there, I'll pick up the call. If not, leave me a message, and I will return it to you the very same day. I return calls right away.
Another question, is taking medication for depression okay?
Absolutely. God is a God of wisdom. God created scientists, doctors, medicine. If we use medicine for diabetes, if we use medicine for heart conditions, why can't we use medicine for depression. The Bible teaches us that a lot of people in the Bible suffer from depression. We have this privilege of having technology and having modern medicine. Why not use it for our own good? Sometimes it could be just a temporary kind of solution to our problem, because it's very difficult for you to manage those symptoms. Some people may have not only medical conditions, but they also feel depressed, because when our bodies are sick, our mind gets depressed too. So it's a combination of both. And if God is, accessing that to us and giving us the opportunity, please use it. Please use it. Get well educated by a psychiatrist and get that support and help.
Another question. Do you recommend therapy for children?
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of therapy?
What kind of therapy? Okay. All right. Let's talk about the ages. All right. So I have worked with children as young as 2 years old, and 3, 4, 5, 6. So children at this age, they don't. You can't just sit down with them and have a conversation about life and their problems. And you can't tell a child, I think you're depressed. So what we do is play therapy. And play therapy is a form of therapy to help children bring out and externalize their emotions and their feelings. So they put their emotions, their feelings on toys and games and different, strategies that we utilize in order for children to feel comfortable and externalize those problems that they have. And children are amazing. They do very well in play therapy.
Next question. What are your thoughts on family therapy, and do you offer it?
Oh, yes. I'm a marriage and family therapist, so I advocate for families. And that is the main reason why I came into this field, because I work with entire families. And sometimes, we have blended families, we have, biological families, sometimes we have, sometimes people come to my office and they say, can my neighbor participate in family therapy? Or my friend, because sometimes we consider a friend's family. And I welcome everybody. Anybody who is part of that structure, is welcome, and I do it, yes.
Next question. How long do you suggest children stay on social media while we're dealing with this quarantine?
Are we talking about daily basis?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, children's day should be very structured, especially now, because they can really easily stray away from having the structure. When they go to school, do they access any social media? No, probably not. They're on laptops, computers, doing work, schoolwork. And I don't know what you use for your child, but I would say, personally, I tell parents, no more than 1 hour a day. No more than 1 hour a day, and supervised.
Next question. What literature do you recommend for marriage help?
For marriage help? Well, there's a lot of books on, Christian books, some good books on marital, relationships. So that's another list that I'm able to provide.
Next question. Avoiding toxic people, you mentioned. How do you avoid them specifically when you have to work with them? And do you recommend acupuncture for release of stress?
Okay. Toxic people. If you're already asking that question, it's because you already identified somebody in your surroundings that is toxic. And you know that when you close to this person, what happens? Avoiding? No. If you had to work with them, because it's almost as if you had to relate to them. But setting boundaries, allow and making sure that they understand those boundaries, very important. And do not hang out with them, do not socialize with them, because that's an opportunity for them to invade you. So be respectful, set your boundaries, and try to stay away from them as much as possible. And the other question was,
Do you recommend acupuncture to relieve stress?
that is a very touchy subject for me because I don't do it personally, but some of the practices, these are ancient practices, and it may be against our beliefs. So we have to be careful about engaging in that kind of practice, and that's all I'm going to say.
Next question. This is from a single mother with a daughter that's 11 years old. I am an essential worker and I have to leave her alone for a period of time every day. I'm afraid of this. She has become anxious when I leave her alone. Do you recommend anything to help her?
I suppose that if you leave her alone, it's because you don't have anybody else to support you, right? Otherwise you wouldn't, because you'd be concerned about your daughter staying alone with anxiety. I think it would be important, if you're leaving her alone, it's because she's mature enough to stay at home alone. Give her projects to do. Assign her things to do. Don't let her go on idle time. Because if all she does is worry, and an hour, maybe you be away for an hour or 2 or 3, that can be like, endless hours for her. So make sure that she's structured, that you give her things to do, and that you hold her accountable when you come home and you say, did you do this? Did you do that? So she occupy her time. When you're busy, time goes by really fast.
Next question. What do you do in the case where you're a wife that wants to get help from a counselor, the husband doesn't?
Yes, very typical.
Or vice versa?
Or vice versa, yes. Well, that happens a lot. I'm a marriage counselor, so usually whoever feels that the relationship needs help is the one that is going to come forward and ask for the help, and the other one is going to stay behind. So if you think that your marriage needs help, do come. You come yourself. And we work with you, and we help you. Sometimes I invite the husband to come by himself so he can explain his part, and and sometimes that's how he gets engaged in therapy.
Next question. In the same scenario, how long do you wait for change in your relationship before you leave?
I think it depends on the situation, because if it's domestic violence kind of situation, then I say to you, leave now. But if it's a problem that, I always say that 2 people get married from 2 different backgrounds, 2 different upbringings. Some could be one person could be healthier than the other, and the other person needs time to recover, needs time to get better. And I think as a spouse, God recommends that you stay there and you be patient and you wait for that person. But if that person doesn't look for help, it's a different story. Because if that person wants to stay in the problem and not get assistance, then there's something that, if it's causing harm to the relationship, then there's something that needs to be discussed.
Going back to toxic people, what if the toxic person in your life is your spouse, child, or stepchild?
That sounds like a very difficult situation, because there's an alliance of 3 people against you. And at least that's the way I'm interpreting the situation. So you become victimized by these 3 members of the family. So I think you need to go and get help to be able to engage and break through this barrier that is happening.
Next question. How do you deal with pride in family?
Sometimes it's hard to answer those questions, given the fact that I don't know what the specific event is, because pride could be a good thing or pride could be a bad thing. I suppose that in this case, it's not a positive thing to the family. So I would have to talk to you more about that in order to give a more concise, kind of advice.
Okay, I think we are done. 1 second. I think that's it.
Okay, wonderful. You guys ask great questions. Thank you so much. It sounds like you're really paying attention. I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Rosi. I think there's one more question.
No, not one more question, but just a few books that I have off the top of my head that I'll share with them while
Go ahead, let us know. There's a few books that you guys were requesting information on, such as
One is Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer.
Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer.
5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary
Dr.
Chapman.
Gary Chapman, 5 Love Languages, and you have them for marriages, children, every kind of relationship, even work.
Love There.
Love There, very good book. Aligns with Fireproof, the movie itself. You may want to watch that.
There's another one, I think it's called A Wife That Prays.
A Wife That Prays is also another good book.
Her name is Stormy something. I don't remember her last name.
You can look it up.
Yeah, but those are just a few off the top of my head, and I'm sure Dr. Rosie's going to give them another long list.
And what we'll do is on tomorrow's broadcast, we will try to coordinate with Dr. Rosi to have a list of books, and we'll post it as a small little thing like you see here on the left and right of me right now. So you'll see a list of books and the category that it affects. I want to really thank Dr. Rosi for being here with us today. Huge help. If you're appreciative, just say thank you right there. Type it in on your social media. I also want to remind you that next Saturday, part of this process of adjusting to this new life is trying to get all the different aspects of our life set up correctly. And one of the biggest things that we're dealing with right now as humans all over the world is our finances. So next week, we're going to have a budgeting 101 class. I highly recommend that you be there. Doesn't matter if you have a job and you haven't lost your job during this time. I recommend that we be wise stewards of what we have and stay ahead of the curve. And if you don't have a job, be on it even more. We have some guest speakers that are going to be coming in and going to be talking about how to make $1 out of 15 cents, as they say. So again, we thank you for your time today. We highly recommend that you stay tuned, like our page on Facebook, NBCCFL, and make sure that you are constantly looking at it as we have many different events coming up over the next couple of months. Thank you again, Dr. Rosi. Thank you for everybody watching. See you later.
Thank you very much.
Good stuff.